An emotion is kind of like the stick over here in my hand right now. We hold it in our hands, we hold this negative emotion, and we grip it really, really tightly. It could be a negative emotion like we're angry at somebody, or we're depressed. We hold this really close and clench our fists, right? The stick is the emotion. And eventually, now I want you guys to do this. I want you to pick up a pen or a stick or something like that, hold that in your arm, in your hand, and really notice the sensation between your hand and the stick. What you might notice is the separation between your hand and the stick starts to disappear. In fact, if you really meditate on it, and if you really close your eyes and look for where the stick begins and where your hand begins, you might begin to see that the place of separation, well, you can't actually feel that. What you are feeling is a bundle of sensations. What I'm trying to illustrate here is often we hold these emotions like the hand and the stick, and we think the stick is part of us. We get so used to the stick being in our hands that we don't realize the stick is just an object we've placed there. Kind of like a wound, an emotional wound, that anger we have placed there. What we can do, and what we can choose to do, is to open our hands and drop the stick. And when we do that, we show ourselves that it was never part of us in the first place. We just fell into the illusion or the trap that the stick was part of our hand, that it was part of us. So today I'm going to be sharing a technique on letting go of emotions. Emotions might feel very personal to us. It might feel like it's part of us, but really it's just something that is arising, and when we can notice it, we can begin to let it go. We can allow it to unravel and then pass away. So this really falls into the letting go technique. You might have read the book Letting Go by David R. Hawkins, or familiar with the Sedona method, which I am personally a big fan of. And I'm going to be sharing a bit about that. So let's say you have a negative emotion in your life. Let's go back to the example of anger. And we're really angry, but often in our life we suppress that negative emotion and we hold it really tight, and we don't even want to delve into it, because when we delve into it, it's really uncomfortable. So we kind of push it away, right? We push away the negative emotion. However, the letting go technique is about feeling the emotion and letting it pass through. So the first step is to allow the emotion to be there. Welcome the emotion. What does welcoming an emotion mean? Welcoming an emotion means to welcome it with open arms, like you are welcoming a friend. So welcoming it with kindness or heart. Saying, hey, you're welcome to be here. I'm not going to try to change you or control you or shove the emotion down. I'm going to allow it to be here. So that's really the first step. To bring that emotion up that was suppressed. Allowing it to be here. Not trying to audit it, change it, or control it. But allowing the emotion to come up and rise up to the surface. That's the first step. When you can allow it to be here, naturally it starts to unravel. And as it starts to unravel, it also starts to be processed. But we can also make a choice. We can also choose, now that it's come up to the surface, instead of attaching a narrative to it, instead of thinking about or trying to understand it better or more deeply, we can choose to let it go. Now, letting go is simply a choice. It's saying, I'm choosing to let this go. It's making that decision. And that's all it is. It's to make a decision to let something go. Often we feel there's more than just making that decision. Often we think we have to do something, we have to really fully understand it, but often that's our mind that is trapping us and making that emotion more sticky and more attached to us. At the end of the day, that is also an illusion. What we need to really be doing is allowing that emotion to be there and then making that decision to let it go. You might ask yourself, when can I let this go? Now, the only time is now. The only time is the present moment. So the only time you can really let it go is right now. So when you ask yourself, can I let this emotion go? When can I let this emotion go? The answer is now. Because there is only now. If you feel like you can't let the emotion go, that's also fine. Tell yourself with honesty, I can't let this go right now. Ironically, that honesty often helps to unravel the suppressed feelings around it. When we try to lie to ourselves and be dishonest, we are further deepening that emotion within us. Another thing about deciding in this moment, I'm going to let this go now. This is important because if we decide that we don't want to let it go now, or we say, I'm going to let it go in the future, that's almost like an excuse. It's procrastination, right? It's saying, it's not acknowledging that we have this opportunity right now to let it go, and so we're not allowing ourselves to let it go. We're kind of pushing it away. We're keeping it far away from us. Instead, if we say, I'm not going to let it go, or I can't let it go right now, and you're speaking in terms of the moment, that is a lot better because now you're speaking with honesty about the reality. So those are the few things. Just keeping it short and simple, just to recap. Letting go is a choice. The first step is to allow the emotion to be here, to allow it to unravel. And when it starts to unravel, you might have different thoughts, feelings that start to come up. And attached to that also might be a story. The story about, oh, he said this, she said that, blah, blah, blah. And, oh, I should have said this, I should have done this differently. And what could I have done better in this situation? And all these different stories that are going to start coming up in your mind. All these thoughts. And we might try to really understand it. And so the second part is to allow those stories to come up, and to choose not to understand it or try to understand it, not try to control it, not try to do anything about it, but just let it be here. Then choosing to let that go, letting it go now, or choosing to perhaps being honest and saying, I can't let this go. If you can do those three things, those will greatly help you in letting go. If you want more details, I suggest looking into the Sedona method, or if you have read the book Letting Go by David R. Hawkins, that's sort of another school of thought. Personally, I prefer the Sedona method, but David Hawkins has got a couple great books. It's a bit simpler, but personally I found it a bit less effective. So if you found this video useful, if it helped you understand the letting go process a bit better, put a comment down below or let me know what you think. Thank you.